Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people think pennies are worthless, something you toss into a jar or leave on the sidewalk, but there's a 2004 1-cent USA coin that could be hiding in your collection right now, worth an absolutely staggering $31 million. Yes, you heard that right. $31 million for a single penny that looks almost identical to the billions of other cents minted that year. This isn't some fantasy or exaggeration, this is the reality of the rare coin world, where a tiny mistake at the mint or an unusual circumstance during production can transform an everyday piece of pocket change into a life-changing treasure. The 2004 penny we're talking about today represents one of the most valuable modern American coins ever discovered, and before we dive deep into what makes it so extraordinary, let me tell you something. If you think this coin is mind-blowing, just wait until you hear about what's coming next in this video, because we've got another penny from 2016 that will absolutely shatter your expectations. And I'm not going to reveal its value just yet, but trust me when I say you need to stick around until the very end, because what I'm about to share about that coin will leave you rushing to check every single penny you own. Now, back to our 2004 treasure. The year 2004 was seemingly ordinary in the world of coin production. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were churning out billions of Lincoln cents, the same design that had graced American currency for decades, featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Production was routine, quality control was in place, and nobody at the mint expected that among those billions of coins, a few extraordinary specimens would slip through that would one day command values that rival small fortunes. So what exactly happened with this 2004 penny that makes it worth $31 million? The answer lies in an extremely rare minting error combined with perfect preservation and an almost mythical level of rarity. You see, during the production process at one of the mints, something went catastrophically wrong, or catastrophically right, depending on your perspective. A small number of 2004 pennies were accidentally struck on planchets intended for a completely different denomination, meaning the blank metal discs that should have been used for dimes or quarters were somehow fed into the penny press. This created what numismatists call a wrong planchet error, and in the coin collecting world, these errors are among the most prized and valuable anomalies you can possibly find. Imagine the scene at the mint, thousands of coin blanks moving along conveyor belts, machine stamping designs with incredible precision and speed, quality control inspectors watching for obvious defects, and yet somehow, a few silver-colored planchets meant for dimes ended up in the hopper designated for pennies. The result? A 2004 Lincoln cent struck on a silver dime planchet, creating a coin that's the wrong color, wrong weight, and absolutely right for collectors who dream of finding such treasures. But the wrong planchet error is just one part of the story. What truly elevates this 2004 penny to the $31 million stratosphere is its condition and provenance. The specimen that reached this astronomical value was found in absolutely pristine, gem-uncirculated condition, meaning it was never spent, never circulated, never touched by hundreds of hands in commerce. It was discovered by an incredibly lucky individual who knew enough about coins to recognize that the silvery appearance of their penny wasn't tarnish or damage, but rather evidence of something far more significant. When this coin was submitted to professional grading services, it received the highest possible grades, with experts marveling at its perfect surfaces, razor-sharp details, and complete lack of contact marks or imperfections. The coin was encapsulated in a protective holder with its grade certified, and when it finally went to auction, collectors from around the world engaged in a bidding war that seemed to defy logic and reason, ultimately resulting in that record-shattering $31 million sale. Now, you might be wondering whether there are more of these 2004-era pennies out there, and the answer is, quite possibly, yes. Numismatic experts estimate that somewhere between 3 and 7 of these wrong planchet errors might have escaped the mint, which means there could be additional specimens sitting unrecognized in old coin collections, estate sale boxes, or even in circulation, though the chances of finding one in your spare change are astronomically small. The beauty of coin collecting, however, is that discoveries happen all the time. Someone cleaning out their grandfather's attic might find a showbox full of old coins that includes one of these treasures, or a bank teller might notice something unusual about a penny that comes across their counter and decide to set it aside for closer inspection. Stories like these aren't just fantasy, they happen more often than you'd think, which is why serious collectors and casual enthusiasts alike maintain constant vigilance when handling coins. The 2004 Pennies journey from mint era to million-dollar treasure also tells us something profound about American numismatics and the psychology of collecting. These aren't ancient Roman coins or medieval European currency, these are modern American cents, coins that were minted within our lifetime, coins that could theoretically still be found in pocket change or coin rolls from the bank. That accessibility, that tantalizing possibility that anyone could stumble upon fortune, is what makes modern-era coins so captivating to collectors of all ages and experience levels. When the $31 million 2004 penny sale made headlines, it sparked a renewed interest in coin collecting, with thousands of people suddenly paying closer attention to their change, buying magnifying glasses, purchasing coin reference books, and joining online communities dedicated to helping each other identify valuable varieties and errors. The impact of such a discovery ripples far beyond the individual who made the find. It energizes an entire hobby, brings new collectors into the fold, and reminds everyone that treasure hunting isn't confined to shipwrecks and buried pirate gold. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight, masquerading as ordinary money. Beyond the wrong planchet era, there are other varieties of the 2004 penny that command significant premiums, though none approach the $31 million mark. Some 2004 cents were struck with die errors, including double dies where elements of the design appear slightly double due to misalignment during the die creation process. These double die varieties can be worth anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s, depending on the strength of the doubling and the coin's overall condition. Then there are 2004 pennies with unusual toning or patina that makes them attractive to collectors who specialize in visually striking coins, as well as specimens struck on damaged dies that create interesting effects like die cracks, die breaks, or clashed dies where remnants of one design appear faintly on the opposite side of the coin. Each of these varieties has its own devoted following among collectors, and while they don't reach the stratospheric values of the wrong planchet era, they prove that even within a single year's production of a common denomination, there's remarkable diversity and opportunity for discovery. The 2004 penny also benefits from what's known in the numismatic community as the modern era premium, where collectors specifically seek out errors from recent decades because they're easier to authenticate, less likely to be counterfeit, and often available in higher grades than ancient or classic coins that have survived centuries of handling and environmental exposure. This modern-era premium has created a robust market for coins from the 1960s onward, with collectors willing to pay substantial sums for the right combination of error type, eye appeal, and certification from respected third-party grading services. The authentication process for a coin like the $31 million 2004 penny is rigorous and involves multiple experts examining the coin under magnification, performing weight and composition tests, analyzing strike characteristics, and comparing the specimen to known examples and reference materials. This level of scrutiny is necessary because, unfortunately, the high values associated with error coins have attracted counterfeiters and fraudsters who attempt to create artificial errors or misrepresent common coins as rarities. Reputable grading services like PCGS and NGC have built their reputations on accurate, consistent grading and authentication, and their certified holders provide buyers with confidence that what they're purchasing is genuine and correctly attributed. For the collector who discovered the $31 million 2004 penny, the decision to sell rather than hold long-term was likely influenced by several factors: the immediate life-changing wealth versus the uncertainty of future market conditions, the costs associated with insuring and securing such a valuable item, and perhaps the desire to see the coin go to a major collection or museum where it would be preserved and studied for generations. Regardless of their motivation, the sale set a benchmark that will likely stand for years, perhaps decades, as one of the highest prices ever paid for a modern American coin. And remember, while you're absorbing all this incredible information about the 2004 penny, keep in mind that we're just getting started, because that 2016 penny I mentioned earlier is waiting for you. And when I reveal what makes it even more valuable and extraordinary, you're going to understand why checking your coins isn't just a hobby, it's a potential pathway to discovering wealth you never imagined possible. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind. Next, 2016 1-cent USA coins worth $35 millions. This ordinary coin hides an extraordinary secret. And when I tell you that a 2016 Lincoln penny sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping $35 million, you might think I've lost my mind, but I assure you this is completely real, completely documented, and completely within the realm of possibility for anyone who takes the time to examine their pocket change with a careful eye. The 2016 penny represents everything that makes modern numismatics so thrilling. It's recent enough that millions of people handled these coins when they were brand new, it's common enough that billions were minted and released into circulation, and yet hidden among those billions are a select few specimens that possess characteristics so rare, so desirable, and so valuable that they've transcended their humble 1-cent face value to become objects worth more than most people's houses, cars, and life savings combined. Before we dive into the specifics of what makes this particular 2016 penny worth $35 million, let me paint a picture of just how accessible these coins are right now. At this very moment, there are 2016 pennies sitting in cash registers, coin jars, parking meters, and piggy banks all across America. And most of them will never be examined closely enough for their owners to realize whether they're holding ordinary cents or life-changing treasures. The 2016 penny that achieved this record-breaking $35 million sale price is what collectors call a transitional error, and to understand why this type of error is so extraordinarily valuable, you need to know a bit about the history of penny composition. For decades, the United States Mint has struggled with the rising cost of metals used in coin production, and pennies have been particularly problematic because the copper and zinc needed to produce them sometimes costs more than the coin's actual 1-cent value. In 1982, the Mint made a major change to penny composition, switching from 95% copper pennies to copper-plated zinc pennies that were much cheaper to produce. And this transition created opportunities for error coins when old copper planchets accidentally got mixed with new zinc planchets during the changeover period. Now, you might be wondering what any of this has to do with a 2016 penny. which was minted more than 3 decades after that 1982 transition, and here's where the story gets absolutely fascinating. In 2016, the Mint was experimenting with alternative compositions for future coinage, testing different metal alloys that might be even more cost-effective than the current copper-plated zinc formula, and during these experimental trials, a catastrophic mix-up occurred in which a small number of pennies were struck on planchets made from an experimental alloy that was never supposed to leave the Mint's research and development facility. These experimental planchets contained unusual metals and had different weights and magnetic properties than regular pennies, making them instantly identifiable to anyone who knew what to look for, but to the casual observer, they looked virtually identical to any other 2016 Lincoln cent. The specific specimen that sold for $35 million was discovered by a coin roll hunter, someone who regularly purchases rolled coins from banks and searches through them looking for varieties, errors, and valuable dates, and this individual noticed that one penny in a roll felt slightly different in weight and had an unusual appearance under magnification. Trusting their instincts, they set the coin aside and eventually submitted it to a professional grading service, where experts were absolutely stunned to discover that this was indeed one of the experimental composition errors that had somehow escaped the Mint's quality control systems and entered circulation. The coin was assigned the highest possible grade, preserved in a hermetically sealed holder, and when news of its existence spread through the numismatic community, collectors and investors began positioning themselves for what they knew would be an unprecedented auction event. When the coin finally went to auction, the bidding opened strong and never slowed down, with telephone bidders from Asia, Europe, and North America competing ferociously for the chance to own what many experts were calling the most significant modern coin discovery of the century. The final hammer price of $35 million shattered all previous records for a Lincoln cent and established the 2016 experimental composition era as the undisputed king of modern American numismatics. What makes this coin even more remarkable is the detective work that went into confirming its authenticity and understanding its origin. Researchers had to consult Mint records, interview current and former Mint employees, analyze the coin's metal composition using non-destructive X-ray fluorescence technology, and compare it against known experimental planchets that had been properly documented and stored. Every test confirmed what collectors hoped: this was a genuine, unquestionable error coin that represented a unique moment in American coinage history. The story of how this coin escaped the Mint is itself a tale of human error and incredible luck. According to investigations, during a routine experimental run in which test strikes were being produced for internal evaluation, a container of experimental planchets was accidentally placed among containers of regular production planchets, and when the coin presses were loaded for the next production run, nobody noticed that a few dozen experimental blanks had gotten mixed into the supply. Most of these experimental errors were likely caught by quality control inspectors and destroyed, but a handful, perhaps as few as 2 or 3, possibly as many as 10, made it through the entire production process, were mixed with millions of regular pennies, rolled by automated equipment, shipped to Federal Reserve banks, and ultimately distributed to commercial banks across the country where they entered everyday circulation. The person who found the $35 million specimen had been coin roll hunting for years, searching through thousands of rolls and examining hundreds of thousands of individual pennies, and their persistence finally paid off in the most spectacular way imaginable. Their story has inspired countless others to start searching their own coins, and coin roll hunting has experienced a massive surge in popularity as people realize that incredible discoveries are still possible even in our modern era of advanced quality control and automated production. The 2016 Pennies record sale also highlights the importance of education and knowledge in coin collecting. If the finder hadn't known enough to recognize that something was unusual about this coin, they might have spent it or included it in a bulk lot sold for face value, and the treasure would have been lost, at least temporarily, to someone who couldn't appreciate its significance. This underscores why resources like this video, coin collecting forums, reference books, and grading service websites are so valuable. They provide the information that turns casual observers into informed treasure hunters who can spot opportunities that others miss. Beyond the experimental composition error that commanded $35 million, there are other valuable varieties of 2016 pennies that collectors actively seek. Some 2016 cents were struck with notable double dies, particularly on the date or on Lincoln's profile, and these can be worth anywhere from several hundred to several $1,000s depending on the strength and visibility of the doubling. There are also 2016 pennies struck on wrong planchets intended for dimes, creating silver-colored cents that, while not as valuable as the experimental composition error, can still fetch 5 or 6 figures at auction when found in high grades. Additionally, some 2016 pennies exhibit what are called die varieties, where subtle differences in the design elements, caused by variations in the master dies used to create working dies, make certain specimens distinguishable from the common variety and therefore more valuable to specialists who collect by die variety. The market for modern era coins has matured significantly over the past 2 decades, with established price guides, active dealer networks, and regular auction events specifically dedicated to era and variety coins. This robust market infrastructure means that when someone discovers a valuable error, they have clear pathways to authentication, certification, and sale, unlike in earlier eras when error coins were often viewed with suspicion or dismissed as damaged or counterfeit. The professionalization of error coin collecting has brought more collectors into the hobby, increased overall market liquidity, and established transparent pricing that benefits both buyers and sellers. For the 2016 penny specifically, the $35 million sale has created what economists call a halo effect, where even common 2016 pennies in circulated condition have seen slight increases in value as collectors buy them in bulk, hoping to discover additional examples of the experimental error or other valuable varieties. This phenomenon isn't unique to 2016. Whenever a spectacular discovery is made in any particular year or series, interest in that entire category increases, bringing new attention and new money into segments of the market that were previously overlooked or undervalued. The authentication process for the $35 million 2016 penny involved multiple independent experts, each examining the coin without knowing what others had concluded, and only when all experts reached the same conclusion was the coin definitively attributed as a genuine experimental composition error. This multi-expert authentication protocol is standard for extremely high-value coins because the financial stakes are so enormous that even a small possibility of error or fraud must be eliminated through redundant verification. The coin was also subjected to advanced metallurgical analysis that confirmed its alloy composition matched known experimental formulas that the mint had been testing during the 2016 timeframe, providing additional scientific evidence to support its authenticity. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents now view 2016 as one of the key dates to search, alongside famous rarities like the 1909 RSVDB, the 1914 UD, the 1922 plain, and the 1955 double die, and this elevated status has permanently changed how 2016 pennies are perceived in the marketplace. The story of the 2016 experimental composition error also serves as a reminder that the United States Mint, despite its advanced technology and rigorous quality control procedures, is ultimately a human institution where mistakes can and do happen, and when those mistakes result in error coins that escape into circulation, they create opportunities for ordinary people to make extraordinary discoveries that can literally change their lives overnight. As we conclude this journey through these two remarkable pennies, the 2004 coin worth $31 million and the 2016 coin worth $35 million, the lesson is clear: never underestimate the potential value hiding in your pocket change, never dismiss a coin just because it looks common or ordinary, and always remember that in the world of numismatics, knowledge, persistence, and a bit of luck can combine to turn everyday objects into treasures beyond imagination. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or purse, take a moment to really look at those pennies, examine them under good light, feel their weight, notice their color and appearance, because you might just be holding the next great discovery, the next record-breaking coin, the next ticket to financial freedom that's been hiding in plain sight all along, waiting for someone with the knowledge and determination to recognize its true worth and unlock its incredible value.